run the wizard, and I created a module just using the add project, create, compile a module like I did before in the wrong project. And this is what was created. And I want to look at the VB file here, and there's a couple of things I want us to notice. First of all, I want us to notice that it already implements the iActionable. Now by that, when it says that, that means that it has implemented that interface. And if you look down at the bottom of the code, you will see that it has a section here, optional interfaces, where it has implemented a module actions functionality, which is the requirement for that. Well, let's go create another class diagram, make it a little bit easier to see. You can see now that that lollipop on the top says that iActionable is an interface, and it has implemented. In fact, we can even sit here and right-click and say Show Base Class. And it shows that we got this class was inherited from the portal module base, and guess what? We have some functionality that comes with that. Since we inherited from portal module base, we have these methods we can call as well as these properties that we can get to. You can also say, hey, I want to show the interface. That's what I meant to do the first time before. And it shows that this interface says we must implement module actions. And you can see that module actions has been implemented there. That's what an interface is. It just says, hey, I've done this. This tells the system that. So if we come back into the code here and we say, hey, I want my site to implement, let's do iSearchable. Well, the interesting thing was, and this is the part I love about this IDE, since I hit enter there, if I scroll down, it's actually already created my stuff for me. I like to do this. I'm crazy. I just go ahead and put comments in and make sure that I have something. Of course, this really needs to go up inside this region. But here we have a implementation. Now, if we go back to the class diagram, it now shows that both of those have been implemented. It shows that the get search items has been implemented. Of course, it hasn't actually been implemented, but it's there. I guess that's what's happening. So you have a stub you can work from. So getting in and doing these things scares a lot of people, working at this level. However, if you realize that all I've got to do is find out, decide what fields I want to search in my module, and send back the proper string with get search item, then you know how to do that. It's not that complicated. The important thing here to realize is all of this is being done, you're actually using the core functionality in your module without touching core source code. And that's very, very important. And of course, you could come in here and you could also say, hey, I want to show this interface as well, so you can see what all is involved in that interface at the bottom. So those types of things are easy to do. The class designer, for me, makes it easy to understand what this code is, how it's related to other things as well. Any comments on it? Boy, either I'm doing a terrible job or I'm doing a good job. The last three items on this list, iModule control, iSkin control, and iAction control, are actually new interfaces in version 5. These were done, and we'll touch this briefly a little bit later. These were done, they were actually in, portal module base, skin object base, and action base. And they were refactored out in version 5. And the reason for doing so was mainly for testing. When you have interfaces, it allows you to instantiate things when you normally can't, when you're not in the right areas and stuff, when you have the interfaces together. Of course, it makes testing much easier. So that's the main use for them. The interesting thing is each one of these is actually still implemented. For instance, if you inherit from your module from portal module base, which is what Stan will be doing, portal module base actually implements iModule control. So if you inherit from portal module base, you get that implementation. So you do not have to implement those to get those things as well as you inherit from base classes. They're there mainly for testing. However, if you create a module control without inheriting from the base class, you can implement that. Okay? So what are the changes? I have made the comment that there have been very, very few changes in DotNetNuke 5 from earlier versions. Version 1 to version 2 was some major changes. The rest of them have not been that big. The first one is, and Brian covered the effects of this in his section, is that the admin sections are no longer locked into the admin menu. They are their own modules rather than being part of the core. This goes back to what I was saying earlier, is that they are pulling more of the functionality out of the core and making it into providers and modules. So the admin section on the admin menu, you no longer, before you had, in version 4, you have to say, if somebody wants to send an email through the managed newsletter, you have to give them admin functionality. They have to have it all. If you want to give somebody the ability to, my brain just went down on everything on that list. File search. Yeah, use the file manager. You have to give them admin for everything. You no longer have to. All of those are out into, well, I won't say all of them. I think there may be one or two that are still in. But the majority of them, anyway, are all in their own modules. You can take those and put them on a page and then assign rights to that page just like you could every other page, and so you can assign them out. So that was one architectural change that was made. How it affects the operation? Operation works the same way. It really hasn't changed the operation that much. It's just giving you a little bit better capability. The concept of extensions to signify any extension of the system. Before you had like module, and you would have a module installed. You had skin, you would have a skin installed. You had language patch, you would have a language pack installed. Now all of these work through the same wizard. So any extension is really considered, all of these things are considered extensions. You're extending the system. And so they're using this as a grouping now rather than as individual. The skin container has been re-architected. Now I have been told by somebody that architect is not a verb. However, we geeks tend to make words out of shrum, like shrum, and all kinds of things. So architected, it's been re-architected. And what they've done is they've taken that entire section and object-oriented it, made it much more object-oriented. Before, the skin class did everything. The skin class controlled it all. Now, when you instantiate on a page a skin, the skin goes and looks out and it says, hey, you remember in the skins you have the content panes, all your different content panes? There is now a pane class. That is new. That is a new class that has been added. It is a pane class. The skin says, here are my pane classes I need, and instantiates. The page says, hey, here are the modules.